breath and prana are connected. So using the breath, one can control the prana, and using mudras, we can direct the prana to different parts of the body and activate the chakras. If there is any blockage, it gets cleared with the pranayama.
Okay. So what? It clears. So what? Then what?
Life will function in a completely better way. So if there are blocks in certain areas, then we are limited to that level. So
Okay.
if it's complete free flow of energy, food, sleep, everything is the requirement is reduced.
Okay. Very
Yeah,
nice.
so better health, and also it's easy to meditate, and also karma gets burned faster.
So less customers for doctors.
Yeah.
Pranayama is anti-medicine business. Okay. Anybody else? What is pranayama?
Control of the vital force, life force, basically to kind of calm the mind. Prana and the mind are, it is said that they originate from the same source. Well, everything does originate from the same source, but
Okay.
they're so closely connected. So therefore, control of regulating the vital life force
Sure.
brings clarity and then calms the mind.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else? What is pranayama? Okay. So the reality is consciousness. What I've been talking about is a principle which is beyond matter. So there's matter, what you perceive, okay? The world that you see, the experience that you have through your sense organs. Now, that what you see is objects. What is animating the objects you don't see. So that's like electricity. Okay, like you see the fan, you see the tube light, but electricity is not seen. But you know intuitively that electricity is there. And if you're very curious, like a physicist or scientist, you want to experience electricity, you put your finger in the mouth and put it in the socket, you will experience electricity. Okay. So there is the underlying reality behind object is energy. Okay, that's very clear. So that between that and what science says, we are seeing science and spirituality meet there, where modern science, which is quantum physics, talks about the what you see as reality is not reality. There is a reality which is much deeper. So when they went deep into the objects, they went to a realm beyond matter, which they call as quantum realm. Okay, which in the language of spirituality is called Shakti or energy. Okay. From the same realm operates another energy called prana, which animates the body. Okay. Now, the container of the material realm is the quantum realm. You understand? The contained is the matter, the objects in the world, the mountain, the tree, you, me, the planet, the sun, solar system, all that, those are that which is contained, objects of the container. What is the container? Shakti or quantum realm. Okay, that you cannot see. Neither can you see, neither can you understand. Okay, neither can it be explained. Okay, which is more closer to reality. Now that quantum realm is what in spirituality we call a Shakti, is the container. Now that container is in another container called consciousness. So from consciousness comes Shakti, from Shakti comes the appearance. Okay. Now there's a way, and what are between all of this, in all of this, there is me as a human being. I'm a human being. I have an object part, which is the body. Okay, body is an object, solid. I can touch, taste, smell, and I can perceive it, and I can perceive other bodies. So there's a object part to it, to me. There is an energy part to me, which is prana, energy layer to me, which is the energy that is operating, making my heart beat, taking care of my brain function, taking care of my digestion, right? Involuntarily, without any conscious intervention from me or any other human being, all these activities are taking place. And these activities you can't undermine. They're activities which are mind-boggling, even to science. Okay, how you eat an apple, that apple which is fallen from the tree, which is dead matter, becomes a living, put through a machine called stomach, it becomes a living organism called you. Is there any machine where you put 1 kg aloo and something living comes out of it? Right? That is your stomach practically. Okay, so you put something dead inside, it gets converted into living. And that is taken care by Shakti. That is taken care by Prana. So I have a object aspect to me, I have a energy aspect to me, and I have a consciousness aspect to me. What is consciousness aspect? Is the journey of spirituality, to understand what is consciousness. Ultimately, the goal is to understand who am I. Okay, the ultimate goal is to understand who am I, and I am consciousness. The teaching is Tattvamasi, you are that. When they say that, they're referring to you are consciousness. You are not the object, you're not the body, because the object keeps changing and you don't change. Neither are you the energy, okay, because energy is also constantly moving, but you are the one that supports these movements. Like there's a wheel and then there's an axle. The wheel is constantly changing, but the axle which is holding the wheel is not changing. So between the wheel and the axle, right now, I think I'm the wheel. I think I'm the body constantly changing. I think I'm the mind. I think I'm the energy. From that shift to realize the truth, which is I am the most underlying reality called self or consciousness. Is that clear? Now, the jump, now it's not that I have to become self or consciousness. I am already self and consciousness. I have a misconception that I'm the object. Like you're wearing a VR headset, okay? And you're seeing, so this is a problem of the future, right? The problem of the future, like 2-3 decades ago, the problem that we have now, people didn't have then because they didn't have the technology. So the technology now, right now, tells on our phone how much time we spend on various apps, right? Every app has that timer. So if you see, it'll reveal to you how much time you spent on the app. That means that much time you spent in a virtual world. In the future, this technology will become more advanced. We're already almost half there with the meta glasses, right? You put on the glasses, on your reality, it will superimpose another reality. Okay. Now, our grandchildren will be in a world where they'll rather prefer to put on a headset and live there because they can control that reality. And they can see whatever they want. They can meet people that they want. They can go to places they want. They'll completely escape from this reality, which also we are doing in a way right now. But it will be more advanced. Neither it can, of course, give you a visual input of you're looking at something else, and also sensory input, like how you have your watches now, the what is that, the Apple Watch, smartwatch. It tells you your heartbeat and it tells you how much deep sleep you're having and all those things. The device will also produce an electrical impulse in your brain. So when you touch something in the virtual world, okay, the device can understand you, the AI can understand you're touching something, and through the device, it can simulate an electrical signal as a sensation of touch. So our great-grandchildren will not even know whether I'm in the real world or in the virtual world. It will be so real. Okay. So, and you start identifying with the objects there in that world. The same thing has happened to us right now, is what Vedanta says. You're identifying with the body, which you're not. and there's a way out and going back to reality. Okay, so there comes a point of time where I'm done with the projection, simply because the projection has not ultimately given me what I want. What do I want? What do I want? When I say I, what do people want? Ultimately, the desires, people have many desires. I want spouse, I want better life, more money, promotion, better car, right? Children, whatever. They're only a means. But the reality, really why I want something is I want happiness. I want money, why? Because I want happiness. I want to travel, why? I want happiness. I want promotion, why? I want happiness. I want spouse, why? I want happiness. Ultimately, the desire is for happiness. Now, so far, if you live 30, 40 years, you'll understand in life, nothing is giving me happiness. Okay, so all of you are adults here. Okay, and most of you are married except Dr. Kavan is going to get married. Anybody has found happiness so far? Prasadji, I forgot your name, buddy.
Yashas.
Yashas means success, right? So have you succeeded in finding happiness?
I think it's all different level of different meaning, Alva. It's all different meaning. You know what you achieve at that time that feels happiness for that moment. It's only momentary happiness.
Momentary happiness. So you've not found permanent happiness. Okay. So is there something called as permanent happiness?
I think our moment, our stage, our that yama, as you progress, it feels happiness is something else, that success is something else.
So every time you reach a goalpost, the goalpost itself changes. Life changes the goalpost. Okay. So you think, first you think getting marks is happiness. Then you get 90% marks. Then you see everybody, then you go to a college, in that college, everybody is a topper. Okay. The goalpost itself has changed. Then you think getting a job is happiness. Then you go join the job, you'll find that everybody else's package is more than yours. And that happiness slips by. Somehow, everything that I touch in life is everything that I eat, thinking it's sugar as happiness, ultimately tastes like sand. Initially, it tastes sweet, but in moments, in days, in weeks, in moments, it becomes sand. Whatever I thought is happy starts giving me suffering. Okay, is there permanent happiness? Is the search. And the reality is, the teaching of all spirituality is very simple. You are of the nature of happiness. To realize this is to realize God. God is nature of happiness. Okay, and that is your inner reality. It is not that you have to become that or get that. It is already there. You have to just see that. You have to realize that. That's why it's called self-realization. So now self-realization, this is your recognition of yourself. You can recognize yourself. There's a direct way of recognizing yourself. The direct way of recognizing yourself is called Atma Vichara or Atma Gnana, where there's a Gnani Guru who just comes and tells you, Tattvamasi, you are that. Okay? Turn your awareness back to yourself. That's the most direct path. Okay, there's nothing to do, nothing to, no sadhana, no effort, no karma, nothing. Just a clear teaching by the master who's realized tells you that you are that, and you see yourself as that, and you're free. Then there are many other ways where, depending on how active your mind is, somebody needs the direct path doesn't work for me. I need a more indirect path, maybe a path of purification, because my mind is more focused on the object. So the path prescribed is karma yoga. Focus on action, because your mind is moving outward, moving towards action. Any teaching given to you, you're asking the question, okay, so what should I do? Okay, ये सब ठीक है. Okay, you are that, I am Brahma, all that is ठीक है, but what should I do now? So that what should I do? The answer to what should I do is karma yoga. You have a notion that you are the doer. You have a notion of the body. Apply your body mind into the service of existence, and that will bring you the activity of doing the action of karma yoga will bring you happiness, not the result, but the action itself. That is karma yoga. Then there is a path of kriya, which just going to take you through now, which is called pranayama. So pranayama is many things. Of course, it's multifold. It has many layers of meaning. But the highest meaning is to realize the self through prana. By becoming aware of the prana energy, I leap to the self. Okay, so I need some platform on which I can step and jump to the self. Okay, that in the case of pranayama becomes awareness of the prana or breath. Is that part clear? The goal is not to reinforce I am the doer. The goal is not to reinforce I am the body. The goal is not to reinforce that the reality of the projection. The goal is to use the projection because I'm standing there, I'm deeply plugged into that, and unplug from it and become awareness of the self. How that happens, I'll tell you now. Okay. So today we'll do something called as Kumbhaka Pranayama. So forget about the names, don't have to remember it. There's a breathing happening, okay, which is a very natural process. And the breathing is both voluntary and involuntary. It involuntary happens without you intervening and consciously making it happen. And you also have the ability to consciously modulate it if you want. Okay. Now, what we know is typically only breath. In breath and out breath. But there is something in between the breaths. What is there in between two breaths?
Gap.
There is a gap. What is there in that gap?
Consciousness.
There's just an awareness of the gap. Okay. So the practice is we will gently breathe in, gently pause, consciously pause. Okay, there's a gap. Then breathe out, gently breathe out. Again, pause. Okay, breathe in, pause, breathe out, pause. You understand? So breathe in, just pause and become aware of what is happening in the pause. Then become aware of the out breath again. Then become aware of the pause. Is the process clear? So sit comfortably, either cross-legged or with your feet firmly on the ground. Deepak, make sure you don't press the accelerator accidentally. Hope the ignition is off. Okay.
It is.
Okay. So is the process clear before we close our eyes? Any doubt so far? What you need to do? Just become aware of the in-breath and gently breathe. Voluntarily, consciously hold the breath, move the breath, breathe in deep, gently, without straining the body. And pause and release the pause. Don't hold the pause for too long. Just 1 or 2 seconds to become aware of it. As you do it, the pause naturally becomes bigger, meaning the gap, which is 1 second or half a second or 2 seconds, naturally, gently on its own increases, maybe 2 or 3 seconds or 4 seconds. Let that happen naturally. Even if it doesn't happen, don't worry. Just gently become aware of the pause and the breath. Pause after in-breath, pause after out-breath. Shall we start? Close your eyes. Sit comfortably. Relax your whole body. Relax. Relax your face, your forehead, your face. Relax your shoulders. Let us begin Kumbhaka Pranayama. Breathe in gently. Become aware of the pause after the in-breath and breathe out gently. Become aware of the pause after the out-breath. Let the breathing be slow, natural, gentle. Become aware of the breath and the absence of breath and absence of mind in the pause between two breaths. Stay focused on the breath and the awareness of the gap. Let us chant Omkara together. Om. 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. My pranams to all. Slowly open your eyes. I welcome all of you to this Gita Jnana Yajna. In today's session, we'll take up chapter number 13, which is called Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga. Okay, but before we go into that, everybody is able to do the pranayama? Huh? Radhika, Anu, Shruti, Deepak, yeah?
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Guruji.
So what is the insight?
As I continued doing it, at one point of time, I felt that there was only breath. Like I did not feel that the body existed. I just felt the breath was just me.
Okay,
This is what I feel.
so that was the experience. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the insight? The answer is there in what you just said.
That I am.
So the
Yeah.
body is not there,
Yeah.
right? That means where is the body?
In my mind.
Body is a thought. Do you understand? So in deep sleep, there is no body. Where's the body? Because there's no thought of the body. So no thought, no body. Is that clear? No thought, no world. Is the world there? In the pause, how many of you experience no thought, thoughtlessness?
Yeah.
Right? Thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness means there is no object. Okay, object is ultimately thought. No thought, no object. You understand? Body is also an object. So the insight I get in my own experience, in my deep sleep, in pranayama, and what you experience in the gap between two thoughts is called samadhi. Okay? Where there is no thought, there is no breath, there is no mind, there is no body, there is no world. But I am there. Somebody is there who to tell that nothing is there. You understand? Somebody is aware of the thoughtlessness. It's not nothingness. It's not shunya. There's an awareness of no objects. True or false? There's an awareness of breath. Okay. With the breath, the mind, the body, and the world. And in the pause between the two breaths, it's called kumbhaka. The kumbhaka is two types. Bahya kumbhaka, which is when the breath after the out breath, or antara kumbhaka, which is when you're after the in breath. In both the kumbhakas, there is a sahaja kumbhaka where I understand, oh, nothing is there. Okay. But I miss out on the part that who is that one who is telling that nothing is there? Who is that? Is that Radhika?
No.
Because Radhika is also character which is not there. You understand?
Mhm.
So, Shruti has Pramod.
Yes,
Did you,
Guruji.
did you do the pranayama?
Yes, yes, I did. Yes.
So what happens in the pause between the breath?
There is no consciousness. I mean, basically, there is nobody to conscious that.
No, consciousness is awareness, light. Okay. Somebody who says there is no consciousness is conscious, right?
Yes.
Somebody has to tell there's nothing. Who is that? That element is conscious. That element is the only consciousness. That's called absolute consciousness or Paramatma. You understand?
Yes.
So that is the underlying reality. And who is that? It is you. You say, I was there. I know it. Right? But when you say, I know it, what you call now as the I is not the one who knows it. It is Pramod. It is the one who is behind the Pramod, who is awareness.
Awareness.
The one who is behind Pramod, the one who is behind Radhika, the one who is behind Anu, the one who is behind Kavin, the one who is behind me, one who is behind you is the same one. And that one is called consciousness or awareness or Paramatma or Parabrahma or Narayana or Sadashiva. Many names, but we'll use the word consciousness or awareness or Paramatma. Is that clear? So, Anu, did you experience the silence of the mind in the gap?
Yes, Guruji.
So, what is there in the gap?
Nothing. Pure awareness. Just calm.
Calmness. Okay. Now, that is the reality. It is just that in the waking state, your mind is more tuned to be to the breath, to the thought. That's why your focus is always on the thought. So much focus on the thought, and you think that I am the thought. The teaching of spirituality is very simple. You are not the thought, because thought is an appearance. And when you do this practice, you will realize that I am present in the absence of thought. I am present in the absence of world. I am present in the absence of mind. I am present in the absence of body. So I can conclude that I am beyond all of this. Okay. But what am I? I don't know. I am something beyond. Okay. The pranayama helps me realize the absence of things and I am the witness. But what is that witness? Is nothing but Paramatma alone. There's no other witness. This is the teaching of spirituality. This is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. When the teaching says Tattvamasi, you are that, it is referring to that awareness, which is a constant light. You cannot shut off that light ever. That light is on even when the body is on, even when the breath is on, or the breath is off. The body is alive or the body is dead. The world is there, the world is not there. That light is perpetually on. That light is called light of all lights, Param Jyoti. And you are that. Any doubt? Well, the only problem in my life is instead of identifying with that, which is my reality, I am identifying with that which I am not. And that is the Bhagavad Gita. So you've seen the illustration of the Bhagavad Gita, right? There are two things here, two characters. There is a Krishna and there is a Arjuna. Who do you identify with? Who resonates with you more? Who you can understand? Who do you feel connected to more?
Initially, we feel we connected to Arjuna, then the consciousness will bring closer to Krishna or Paramatma.
Krishna. So the teaching helps you realize that I am not Jiva, individual. Okay, I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am the light behind, which is Krishna, which is consciousness. Okay, I am not the mind. Arjuna represents the mind. Arjuna represents disturbance in this case. confusion. Okay, and also represents action. Krishna is non-doer. He's only charioteer. Okay, the illustration of the Bhagavad Gita with the chariot, with the war field, with the Arjuna and Krishna represents the entire teaching of spirituality. Okay, and points out to the intellect. Krishna represents the purified intellect. Now the issue is in the intellect. The intellect is always oscillating and pointing towards the object, forgetting the power behind. Okay, but there is, and in that wrong identification with the different roles, body, mind, world, the intellect feels lost. Okay, and the happiness feels lost. The teaching of spirituality is just to give a direction to that intellect, change its attention from the object to the pure subject, which is Atma. Okay, and that is why Jnana works. That is why wisdom works, because it brings a change in the intellect. If it doesn't bring a change in the intellect, it's useless. Okay, that is why the direct path works, because that is why Krishna's message of the Gita works on the battlefield. It transforms Arjuna. When I say Arjuna, it transforms Arjuna's intellect. He has a wrong outlook towards himself and the world. The teaching of the Paramatma, in this case, Paramatma represents somebody who's realized Paramatma, Krishna or Sadguru, one who is established in that consciousness, gives the wisdom that you are not the body, you are not the intellect, you are that consciousness. Okay, and that is called Jnana. And that Jnana helps because it corrects the intellect. Is it clear? Any doubts so far? Shruti, you are listening or you just came in now? You missed everything.
No, Guruji, in between I'm listening also. So, but yeah, I missed a few parts, but I'll catch up.
Okay. So, the message of the Bhagavad Gita is, so I've been telling the 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, and the 18 chapters bring the simple message, Tat Tvamasi. The first 6 chapters talk about Tvam Padartha, Tvam, you, individual. That is why the focus of the first 6 chapters, or the highlight of the first 6 chapters, is Karma Yoga. Okay? It is realizing yourself through Karma Yoga. Then the next 6 chapters is about Tat Padartha, Paramatma, Supreme Consciousness, or the absolute reality, Tat Padartha. That is why the highlight of the second 6 chapters was Upasana or Bhakti. So we saw in the Vibhuti Yoga, in the Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, it's about Tat Padartha, the totality, how Paramatma, Krishna tells, I am everything, I am this, I am that, I am everything. Okay. And the highlight of the next 6 chapters was Upasana, where your Upasana simply means your mind, you're taking a higher posture. Asana means posture. Upasana means higher posture. Not higher posture of the body. The mind is taking a higher posture. Mind, instead of thinking of the material world, is now moving to the Shakti behind the material world. Okay, or the consciousness behind the material world. That is what the chapter number 7 to 12 were. Today we'll take up chapter number 13. From 13 to 18, it is Asi. Asi is Jivatma Paramatma Ekatva. It is concluding the equation. Okay, concluding the equation that you are that. And the essence of the next 6 chapters is Vichara, Viveka, Jnana, Atma, Anatma, Viveka. So first, the teaching is preparatory, Karma Yoga. Next is Upasana, Upasana Kanda. Now is Jnana Kanda. Jnana is now directly going to the point in this next 6 chapters. What is the point? To discriminate. It's a process of discrimination. The next 6 chapters is discrimination. What I am, what I'm not. What I am, what I'm not. And discriminate, remove whatever I am not, and realize what I am. That I am that supreme reality, consciousness. Is that clear? And this chapter is called Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga, Yoga. The discrimination of what is Kshetra and what is Kshetrajna. What these are, we'll understand. That is the title of the chapter. Is it clear? Now, there is before I jump into the discrimination, going back to the problem statement, the root cause of the problem. So Krishna is addressing the root cause. I've told you earlier that Krishna is not giving a motivational speech to the warrior. Okay, it's not, okay, you're a warrior. Typically in movies, when you see, right, every time a war begins, the king or the commander-in-chief comes and gives a speech. And that everybody starts hooing and shouting, okay, war cry. So that boosts up the morale and they go and fight. So this Bhagavad Gita is not a motivational talk for the warrior. It is not to tell Arjuna to bring confidence into Arjuna or to motivate him. It is to help him realize Krishna is going to the root of the problem. He's going. So we do root cause analysis in work. So Yashas, you work in IT. What do you work as?
In cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity. Areva. Okay. So you're the scapegoat for the class today because you're a newcomer. So we do root cause analysis, right? You have to solve any problem, you have to go to the root cause. Where cybersecurity is about somebody is trying to get some data. Okay. Now you're not able to get that person because that person is hopping IPs, different IPs. Okay. You're not able to trace it because by the time you trace it, the IP is already changed. You're not able to trace it back to the original source from where the command or virus or whatever came in. So it is crucial, and without going to the source, if you release a patch, okay, for something which is symptomatic, okay, let's say some corrupted program came in, and it's constantly changing your interface, pulling something off your interface. Releasing a patch to remove the interface is just a symptomatic solution. Blocking the breach, which was a problem in your infrastructure, there's some issue there's some weak point in your system, which allowed the breach to come. Okay. That is solving the root problem, right? Now, what is the problem of human being?
We allow different, again, as you mentioned, right? We have so many weak points. Bringing that to one weak point and addressing that is more important rather than having to address many weak points, because if you consolidate into one weak point, that gives the answer, where you can, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Fixing it within the system is important rather than fixing all other entities, because there's so many, it can multiply like Rakta Bijashwara, it can multiply. Things will multiply at the same time, as you mentioned, it can hop.
Yeah.
It can be a DOS attack where you DDoS attack. You can't distribute it. It's very much distributed.
Yeah. So what is the problem? So we have many problems in life. Okay. Well, we have problem of health. Health is a health problem. Health can be a problem. Then mental health can be a problem. Nowadays, it's a very big problem, mental health. Earlier, we didn't even know there's something called as mental health. Then relationship can be a problem. Then job can be a problem. Having a job is one problem. Not having a job is another problem. Having a spouse is one problem. Not having a spouse is another problem. Having a child is one problem. Not having children is another problem. Right? So it seems like life only has problems to show you. Okay. The more you grow, you realize, oh, more than peace, there is only problem in life. Okay. Just when you sit, everything is fine. I want to relax. Then somebody will blow up some part of the world somewhere. Then you'll start getting worried about your stock market investment. Then the market will crash. So somehow the life is filled with suffering. And that's why Buddha told his first noble truth was life is a suffering. Does everybody agree? Wherever you see, and you don't need to see anywhere, just scroll through the news for 10 minutes in the morning. Okay, you do your pranayama, right? Where's Shilpa? She left. Whoever does puja and pranayama in the morning, also do news puja in the morning. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's enough to disturb you for the whole week. Okay, you'll see so many deaths, then what is the scams, then what else? All sorts of problem, which you thought you were away from, but it starts feeling that it's going to happen to you. And you start becoming anxious. What will happen to me? What will happen to my family? So in this, and the same situation Arjuna is in right now. Arjuna have to fight the war. Instead of doing what he has to do, he's getting overwhelmed by that which is not real. Okay, which is practically his imagination is going wild. And he's seeing his own relatives on the other side. He has an attachment to them. And that attachment to the relatives is clouding his judgment. And he is depressed and disturbed. Now, for such a person, Krishna is not giving, he's not giving any symptomatic treatment. He can give a symptomatic treatment. Okay, Arjuna, take this pill. It will reduce your anxiety. You can fight the war. At that time, medicine was very advanced. Some jadi booty he would have given. Take this jadi booty or some, intoxicant of some sort. It will heighten your awareness and you can fight the war. That's a symptomatic solution. Symptomatic solution. And that's what most people do, no? Right? When somebody gets depressed, they try some substance, alcohol, some suppressant. Why? I want to lose myself. Okay, or some entertainment. I want to go to some movie. I want to go to some football match or cricket match. Why? In that time span, I forget my worries. I forget the world. I am transported into a very different, peaceful world. Somehow I'm forgetting my troubles. But does that solve the problem? It only suppresses the problem for some time, or suppresses the awareness of the problem, not even the problem. So the world is filled with problems, and the world is also filled with suppressants. That suppressant is alcohol, that suppressant is TV, that suppressant is mobile phone, that suppressant is satsang, that suppressant is reading some book, that suppressant is some sort of immersion into some activity. Work is also a suppressant. You've heard of people called as workaholics, right? What is workaholic? Workaholic doesn't mean that they love the work job. It's just that they don't want to face their work house or real world. So they immerse themselves in work. You understand? So is there any solution? So in trying to find a solution, people have tried suppressants, not worked. People have tried self-help books. Has it worked? Not worked. What all you have tried? Going to temples. Has it worked? It is gives some solace for some time, but the problem seems to creep back again and again. And what is the problem? The problem is somehow no matter what I do, I feel a limitation. Okay, I feel limited. I feel like I'm in the body. I have a limitation. I have a mind. I am limited because there is somebody else who knows more than me. There's somebody else who's stronger than me. Somebody who's more beautiful than me. There's always be somebody more than you. Okay, and that brings you a sense of limitation, and you see a big world, and you feel very small in that. And that limitation is because of your identifying with your body, mind, and intellect. So the root problem is identifying with the body. So that's the root cause analysis that our rishis have done in India. The fundamental discovery is what is the root cause of all the problem is duality. Okay? You experience duality when there's no duality. The child is non-dual. The child has no concept of duality, me and other. But later, the child starts perceiving duality. That's me and other. And the moment the other is perceived, the me is experienced as limited entity. Oh, I'm small, the other is big. Because from the child perspective, everything is big, child is small. You understand? So, what is the root problem? The root cause of suffering is called as Dvaita Moolam Aho Dukkham. What is the root cause? The sense of duality is the root cause. That sense that there is something else is the root cause. Okay? And when there's something else other than me, duality means me and other. When there's something else, I am always on the weaker side. The other is always bigger than me. There will always be somebody bigger than you, smarter than you, powerful than you, richer than you. In every way, somehow somebody will always be better than you. And that gives a deep sense of limitation. I'm limited. Okay? And I don't like to be limited. That is why when you feel happy, what do you feel? You feel expanded. Have you felt that? When you feel happy, you feel expanded. You don't feel limited. You feel like I can do anything. Okay? I have conquered the world. When you're happy, when you're joyful, you don't feel limitation. Temporarily, that limitation, the sense of limitation is suspended. Okay? And the sense of duality is suspended. But that lasts for a very, very, very short time. Again, you come back into limitation. Now, when you come back into limitation, you come back with the memory of being happy, which makes you unhappy now. You understand? Somebody wanted to buy a car, let's say. Very agitated until I want to buy the car. Okay, I did all the saving, whatever earning and hustling and everything. I bought the car. Buying the car is very joyful. At that time, the person feels expanded. Okay. Then, how long does it last? 1 day, 2 days, 1 week. Okay. Then the person shrinks back again. When the person shrinks back, the person shrinks back now with the vengeance of the happiness that they got. That they have lost that happiness. So every time you get happy, you become unhappy with the memory of the happiness that you had. That means your present moment perpetually is two things. Looking forward for the happiness in the future and the memory of the happiness that you had, which creates pain now, which is only telling you you're not happy now. You understand? Your craving for happiness in the future tells you what? That I'm not happy now. Your memory of that time I was so happy before marriage. I was, nobody was there to ask me anything. I was happy. Now this person is there eating my head. Okay. It only reminds you that old happiness that you experienced is reminding you of the pain that you have now. So somehow my present moment seems to be limitation, duality, and a craving for happiness. Duality, sense of duality, limitation, because I'm limited, body, mind, intellect, and my body is changing. Earlier, I was so young and pretty. Now everybody's calling me uncle, uncle, auntie, auntie, right? So limited by the body. Then mind, I was the topper of the class. Now these young children talk about some apps that I don't even understand. Okay, the world is going fast. So there's a limitation and a craving for happiness. Earlier I was happy, that day I was happy. I've missed that. I want that again. Or in my childhood, I was happy. I want that again. Or one day I will become happy after I get this thing. You see, 2 years later, I'll have this thing. I'll be happy. So that seems to be the status quo. Agree or disagree? How many of you are in this layer? Okay. Duality, limitation, and a craving for happiness. And the worst part is the craving for happiness is from objects in the world. When I say object, I am referring to people also. People, incidents, events, space, time, and actual objects. if you look at your craving for happiness, your desire for happiness, it's always associated with some object. Because the notion is, if I get that object, get that place, time, space, or object, I'll be happy. Which is a recipe for disaster. Okay, which if you're 30, 40 years old, you should have understood by now. There is no happiness in object, no matter what the object is. Somebody wants to buy a luxury car, great happiness. They buy the car, but it's a lifelong headache to maintain that car. It becomes a suffering. Okay. Whatever you catch as sugar turns out to be sand. So in this state, I need a permanent solution. And that is what Krishna is addressing. The Bhagavad Gita is not a symptomatic solution. It is not another suppressant. When I say Bhagavad Gita, I'm referring to Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, the teaching of Vedanta, or the teaching of Sanatana Dharma. In Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, we want to go to the core root cause of the problem. And we identified the root cause. It is duality. It is my sense of limitation. And I want to directly address that. Now, how can I directly address that? I address the duality with the realization that the duality is only a false perception. It is not real. If it was real, there's a problem. If it is only an appearance, then there's a solution. So the example given is, there is a rope. You're in darkness, you're traveling. There's a rope. Now the rope, you don't know it's a rope. You see a snake. Okay? When you see a snake, you are petrified. You are anxious. You are fearful. Okay? You have so many emotions. Then you put on the light torch. You only realize there is, that's such a rope. In the same way, the duality is only an appearance, like the snake. It's an appearance. It's a mental projection. It's not real. What is the reality? The reality is the rope, which is consciousness, which is Paramatma. The reality is God, but you are seeing a world. Okay? So the spirituality is about correcting. It's not about giving something new. It's about correcting your wrong perception. The duality is a false perception because of ignorance, because you don't know what is real, because you don't know there is a rope, because of the darkness. The darkness is called avidya. Okay, you don't know the true nature. Because you don't know the true nature, you see your mind projects something on that. There's a superimposition. So the two things are happening. There is a avarana. Avarana means covering of the reality. Okay. Then because the reality is covered, there's a vikshepa. Vikshepa means projection of that which is not. So avarana and vikshepa is called maya. Is it clear? Just give me 1 second. Somebody has come here. I'll just take a pause for 2 minutes. Hari Om, everyone. Is everybody here?
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Krishna ji.
Okay. Kavan, you still here?
Yes, Guruji.
Okay, so it's clear so far. So I was telling, what is Maya? Maya is two things. There's a ignorance of self-knowledge, who I am. Okay, that's called avidya. Now, when does avidya start? We don't know. There's no, we can't trace it back to when it started. It is time immemorial. Since the dawn of creation, there is the avidya. Now, that avidya, it covers my true nature. And that covering is called avarana. It covers my true nature and it covers the nature of the world. What is the truth behind the world? Now, because it covers, there's a covering of the real, and there is a superimposition of that which is not real. That's called mithya. So this avarana, covering of Brahman, and superimposition on the Brahman consciousness is called Maya. So what is Maya? Maya is avarana and vikshepa. The rope is getting covered because of the darkness, and I'm superimposing a snake on it. And where is the snake coming from? There is no snake. The snake is coming from our mind. Where is the world coming from? The world is coming from our mind. This is very evident in my dream state. In my dream state, from the waking state, I go into sleep. Then in my waking state, I am in Reading, UK. But in my dream state, I am in Paris, looking at the Eiffel Tower, eating croissant. Okay. Now, the entire dream world experience, the Eiffel Tower, the Paris, the croissant, the taste, the body, the everything, I can clearly say or know that is a mental projection when I come out of the dream state, back to the waking state. When I come back to the waking state, okay, I tell, I disregard that. I tell that was all a mental projection. Nothing was real. Even though when I was experiencing it, I experienced it as real. The moment I come out of that state, I tell it as unreal. So the mind, but what I can infer is the mind, what I don't infer, which I should infer, is that the mind has the capability to create world, to create body, to create time and space. The time and space in the dream is very different. When you're in Paris, there's a time and space. You say, oh, yesterday I bought, how did I come to Paris? Yesterday I bought a ticket from London and I came to Paris. There's a concept of time. Rather, not a concept, there's the experience of time. The mind has an ability to create world, time, space, body, bodies, many people, okay? And thoughts, inner thoughts, and subjective experiences, which is sensory inputs. I eat the croissant, I can taste the croissant. I tell it's a bad croissant or a good croissant. Where there's no croissant, there is no body, there's no tongue itself. But the body, the tongue, the croissant, the taste, the electrical impulse of the taste, everything is created by mind. Which is what should be the inference from the waking, but I don't take that inference. I just tell, okay, it's a dream state. Now this is a waking state. Why would I take the inference? Because if I take the inference, I start questioning what I'm experiencing now. So I keep telling the story of the Zen master. There's a Zen master who wakes up from his dream and he starts crying profusely. All the disciples gather and they ask him, Master, why are you crying? The master says, I had a dream, I had a nightmare that I was a butterfly. I was a joyful butterfly hopping from one flower to the other flower. I was a beautiful butterfly. I saw my reflection in the pond. Okay, and I was in the garden, beautiful garden. Then I woke up. Then, Master, why are you crying? I'm crying because I don't know if I'm a Zen master who dreamt I was a butterfly, or if I'm actually a butterfly dreaming I'm a Zen master. So I don't know which is real. There was a beautiful series that I watched a long time ago. I think it's called Awake. In that series, there's the police officer. The protagonist is a police officer. He has a wife and a daughter, and he meets with an accident, and he wakes up in the hospital. He sees that his wife has passed away in the accident and his daughter's alive. Then he goes into sleep. In the sleep, he wakes up into another reality, in the dream. In that dream, his daughter is dead and the wife is alive. And both seem very real. He doesn't know which is real, who of them have really died. So in both the states, he goes to a psychiatrist. He goes and tells the psychiatrist that I'm experiencing, when I go to sleep, I wake up in a, I don't know, a dream world or real world where my daughter is dead. But here my wife is dead. And in both the states, he goes and meets a psychiatrist. And both the psychiatrists prove to him that the other state is false state. When he goes to this psychiatrist in this state, where his daughter is dead, the psychiatrist tells, no, that state is dream. When he goes to the other psychiatrist, who is in the dream state, she tells, this state is real, that state is dream. With very scientific precision, how this state is real, that state is a dream. So we don't know which state is real. All we can conclude is that the mind has a capability to project world, body, sensation, objects. Is that part clear? And that projection is my own projection. Like how all the dream world is coming from me, the waking world is coming from me. Okay? But that waking world is also very similar to the dream world. But I take it to be real because I identify with the body in the waking world. For me, I identify with the body. And that identification, I identify with many roles. I play many roles in the waking world. Father, officer, engineer, son. I identify with all these roles. Okay? But the root of all the roles, root of all the limitations, root of all the duality goes back to the root called I. I, feeling of I, which is a small I. Okay? Now that I is the problem. That I is called the ego. That I is the root problem. The teaching of the Gita is what you call as I is not real. It's only an appearance in the waking state. In the dream state, you have a different I. But there's a real I behind that I. That is called Atma. That is what you are. So Tat Tvamasi, you are that. You are not the I, the small I, the individual I, which has limitation. You are not the body. The I identifies with the body. The I identifies with the mind. The I identifies with the intellect. The I identifies with the waking world. Okay? You are not any of these identification, nor are you the identifier, which is a small I. But you are the one which is aware of all of this, which is called Atma. That's why I made you do the Kumbhaka Pranayama for this chapter, because you become aware, neither am I the breath, neither am I the breathlessness. I am the one which is aware of both the presence and absence of breath. I am the one who is aware of both the mind and the absence of mind. I am consciousness. Is that clear? So let us start. Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga. So this, I told you, is a chapter where discrimination starts. This is a process of discrimination. I need to discriminate what is Kshetra and what is Kshetrajna. Kshetra means field. Kshetrajna means knower of the field. Okay? Kshetra means field, space, time, world. Kshetra, object. Kshetrajna means knower of the object. So distinction between the knower and the known. Why this distinction is important? Because right now, you think you are the knower, is for you right now is the body. I am the knower, means I am the body, and the known is the world. Krishna tells the first statement in the Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga. What is Kshetra is? The body is a Kshetra. Okay. The Atma, which is in the body or operating through the body, is a Kshetrajna. Right now you think the body is the knower. I am the knower. I as the body. And the world is a known. So this is the example that I give is, just a moment, let me pull up this image for you. How many of you play games here or have seen your children play games? You have to speak because I can't, I'm just searching something.
Yes, Guruji.
Who's that? Anu?
Anita.
So you have played video game?
I know, I've seen the kids. Yeah, I also joined them once in a while.
You also joined them, right? Okay.
I play games, Guruji.
Who's that? Kavin.
Kevin.
Okay. What games you play, Kavin?
First-person games, as in shooting. Also play arcade games and other games.
Yashas, you play games?
I've stopped playing that kind of virtual reality games now.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you see this? There's a first person perspective and a third person perspective. Have you seen this? First person perspective is it's only it's an experience of you are in the body of the character and you're holding the gun. So if you look down, you'll see your feet. If you look at your hand, you'll see your hand. It's as if the camera is here in your eyes through the body. The third person perspective is the camera is outside the body. So in the third person perspective, the body is also Kshetra. It's part of the projection. In the first person perspective, I am in the body experiencing the world. So which is reality? I am in the body. The Jnana is, the feeling is, I am in the body. I am in the world, experiencing the world. Reality is, the body is also an object, which is part of the world. I am not the body. I am the witness of the body. I am the Kshetrajna who is beyond the body. I observe the body and the world that's in. That's why Krishna, although he tells everything is Kshetra, he tells the 5 elements, the totality of the world, the ego, the intellect, all of that is Kshetra, which is field. But most importantly, he points out the body is also Kshetra. It is part of the field. It is part of the projection. And I am the one who is Kshetrajna, beyond that. Do you understand why this distinction is made? Does everybody get this example of the first person and third person? Right now, we experience the world as first person. I am an individual. I have a name. Whatever, Krishna, Yashas, Kavin, Anita, some name. Okay? And I am in the body. And I am the body. Whatever, when I identify with the body, whatever happens to the body, I say it's happening to me. Whatever the body does, I say I am doing. So whatever the body, I identify with the body and I identify the mind. Whatever thoughts comes in the machine, I tell it's my thought. I am thinking. Okay? I claim and own all the movement of the body, mind, and intellect because I identify as a first person. I've identified with the first person. Spirituality is becoming third person. Realizing I am Kshetrajna. I am the witness of the body and mind and the world. Okay? It's not just witness of the world. It is becoming... So there is a distinction happening. The first distinction is the world is an object. I am the subject. Okay? So in any experience, there is a threefold split. The teaching of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga is the teaching of Triputi. It's one of the fundamental concepts or understandings in the spiritual tradition, which you have to understand. What is Triputi? Without understanding Triputi, understanding Triputi is understanding how Maya works. Okay, have you heard this word called Triputi before? Triputi means three. There are three elements in the equation. The three elements is object, subject, experience. Okay? Object, for example, there is a water. Water is the object. I am the drinker, subject. And there is the experience of drinking. That is the experience. So knower, known, process of knowing. So the problem in life is this triputi. Okay, the threefold distinction creates suffering in life. The threefold distinction creates, there's me, subject as a subject, and other, which is an object, and we are connected somehow through some process of perception. When you look at a child, the child has no triputi. That is why when you are in your memory of a child, it was blissful experience, because there was no subject, no concept to call as subject, me. There was no concept called as object, because you still labeling has not come in the mind. Okay, it was just a pure experience. But later, when the mind started forming, the mind starts splitting every experience into triputi: subject, object, experience. Okay, the mind splits life or experience in life into threefold: subject, object, experience. Now, object, object you say is world. World is object, other person is object, everything is an object. Then the mistake that you make is, this is a subject, like in any memory. Can anybody share a memory? Last time you had a nice time, give me a memory. Share a memory. I know you're smiling. Yashas, tell me.
It was last night. We were having a discussion about similar topic.
Last night, you didn't eat nice Pallavi, didn't give you nice food?
Nice memory. ಊಟ ಆಯ್ತು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಏಕಾದಶಿ ಬೇರೆ, ಸೊ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರು ನಿರ್ಜಲ
Fasting. Okay.
But ನಿನ್ನೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ my kind of thoughtful conversation.
Okay. So
it is a memory, nice memory.
It's a nice memory. So let us analyze that memory. In that memory has a threefold, the storage. Memory is a data. Okay. The data is pulled. Right now you're in the conscious mind. Where is memory? Is memory real?
It is not real. It is
not real. It is a record. Okay. It is data in the, so think of your brain as a data processing unit. It is there in some part of the brain. That's why when people get disease or if they're hit somewhere, the memory is lost. Okay. The data is stored somewhere. The data is stored also in consciousness. Okay. In the subtle layer of the mind. Now, when you pull the record in the conscious state, in the present moment, the triputi is recalled. The object, which is Prasad and his house and reading, okay, that you recorded as object. Then you also recorded the experience, maybe the discussion you were having, the food that you had, and the subjective experience it created inside you, joy or question or confusion or happiness or whatever, right? Then what else is recorded?
The memory, conversation.
The object is recorded. Object is, conversation is object. World is object. The food that you ate is object. The sensation that you felt is also object, right? So there's an objective recording. There is also a subject recorded. The yashas who experience that. The yashas who experience that and the yashas who is listening to the class is the same yashas?
Yes, they are.
I am so unfortunately, sir, stick call nimalli bitinda Prasadji.
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು
ಅನುವರ್ ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. Okay. I actually beat people in the class. So remote, you're fortunate enough to be in the remote session. So you're saying the yashas who ate the food last night, the yashas who is sitting...
That is a memory, right? That is a memory, sorry.
Huh.
Object.
So there is a object called Yashas who was recorded as a subject right now and recalled by a subject now who will become an object tomorrow.
Yes, yes. How to?
Is everybody understanding what I'm trying to say? In all your memories, please understand, you tell, if you look at a picture, no, of you and your husband honeymoon in the Paris or wherever, you tell, oh, we went to this place. The person who went to that place, the subject, where is that subject now?
Nobody.
That subject doesn't exist now because what you call a subject is that body. Let's say 20 years ago, you went honeymoon. Anu, how many years ago you went on honeymoon? You better remember this, okay? Oh, I should actually ask the question to Naveen.
I think he's trying to come off mute. 22 years. I think.
25.
Oh, Naveen is there. Okay.
I'm
Not
here. I'm here.
25, 22.
22.
Naveen will know accurately. Naveen, 22 years ago. Where did you go?
That Anu can tell.
Huh?
That Anu can tell. I answered one question. Anu can answer the next one.
Oh, okay. Anu, where did you go?
We were in the US, Guruji. We were in the US.
So I went to US. I was in the US, right? Now, the one who was in the US, experiencing US, is the subject. When you were there, when you were experiencing the subject, where is the subject now?
Here, in driving.
You have to beat yourself with a stick.
I know, I'm thinking.
Okay, what? So at that time, what did you call subject? You're looking at the Statue of Liberty. I'm just taking for example. The one who is looking at the Statue of Liberty is the body. There was one body. Is that body there right now?
No.
The body is not. The one part of the subject is gone. Is the mind there right now?
No.
Mind has changed. 25 years ago, mind very different. Okay. Then what else? Intellect. Is the intellect there now?
No.
What you call as a subject, which was there that time, doesn't exist now. That means what was there that time was an object. Because objects change. Subject doesn't change. But you say that because something has not changed in you. Instead of pointing at that, you're pointing at the body mind. That's the mistake you're making. There is a subject which is not changed, but you're not referring to that. You're referring to the body and mind. So first Krishna is telling what you're not. You are not the subject that you think you are, which is body and mind. You understand? You are not the one who was there 20 years ago in UK. But you are the one who is there all the time in UK, in US, everywhere. Who is beyond the body and mind. Who is that? That is Atma. And that Atma is neither object, okay, neither subject. It is a pure knowing of both subject and object. You understand? That knowing principle is called self-consciousness. That is Kshetrajna. So there's a Kshetra which has body and mind and world, subject and object, pseudo-subject and object. Okay? And Kshetrajna, who is beyond subject and object, which is pure subject, Atma. You understand? Now the problem is, instead of identifying with Atma, who is beyond subject, who is just a pure knowing principle, you are identified with subject. And that is the suffering in life. Now, what is subject? I'll break it down. Subject becomes fourfold. You become Gnata, knower. Okay? Knower is intellect. Intellect is knower. You become Bhokta. Bhokta is mind, enjoyer. Bhokta is enjoyer. So you say, I had 2 weeks ago, I went to Scrum Diddleys and I had ice cream. Okay? Bhokta. I became Bhokta. I had some nice experience. Then Karta. Karta is doer. Okay? Gnata, Bhokta, then Karta and thinker. Thinker, knower, doer, enjoyer. You understand? Is that so far clear? Is everybody following the thread? How I arrived here, is it clear? I came down from experience. So life is experience, right? And experience of many types. I'm taking one experience and drilling down within the experience to identify who I am, who I am not. Experience has three things in it. Triputi: subject, object, experience. Okay? Experience can be doing something also. Let's say I did a painting. Painting is an experience. That painting has threefold. The painting itself, okay? Then the painter who is painting it, and the process of painting. There's a triputi. In everything, there's a triputi. Then I eat an apple. I eat something. There's a triputi there. There's an enjoyer. There is an object of enjoyment. And there is experience of enjoyment. Is it clear? So your life is triputi. Is that part clear? Everybody understands triputi? A threefold division of every split of experience. The reality is there is no triputi. Triputi is an illusion. There is no such thing as object, subject, and experience. There is no such thing as doer, deed, and doing. So let's say you did painting. Painting is a deed, right? It's an action. There is no such thing as painter, the painting, output painting, and the process of painting. It is only a creation of the mind. At all points of time, there is only a pure knowing of what is happening in the realm of knowing. So we'll understand that. That is the whole chapter. This whole chapter is understanding how triputi is an illusion. Okay? And how, instead of identifying as the Kshetrajna, the knower, the knowing principle, not the knower, knowing principle, I am identifying with the Kshetra. I identify with the body. I identify with the knower. I identify with the doer. I identify with the thinker. I identify with the enjoyer, and I suffer. If you look at all the suffering in life, I'll give you one example of suffering. One example is regret. Anybody has regrets here? What is the statement of regret? I should not have done that. Okay, I should not have done that. 20 years ago, I punched somebody in the face. I should not have done that. Okay, I did something. I said something I shouldn't have said. I hurt somebody. I should not have done that. It's a regret, and it is a suffering for many people. Okay, it's a deep suffering. No matter what you do, you cannot remove it. Okay, now suffering is I did something. When you realize you are not the doer, you become free from that regret. The only freedom from the regret is to realize you are not the doer. How you realize you are not the doer? You have to understand the threefold. The triputi doesn't exist. That the doer, at that time you thought there is some doer, and you think I am the doer. Then there was a deed, which was the speech or hurt or punch that you did, and there was the result, karta, karma, and the deed. The triputi is only an illusion. It does not exist. So how do we understand this is the enquiry for today in the Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga. So is the problem statement clear? Is triputi clear before I go into dissecting out triputi? Every experience you have, there's a triputi. There's a subject, there's an object, and there's a experience. There is a what is it called? Gneya, which is the knower. There is a gnatra, and there is Jnana. Okay, knowledge, known, and knower. There's a split between knowledge, known, and knower. Doer, deed, and action. Thinker, knowing of the thought, and the thought itself. All of this is just an appearance. It's not real. It's the message of this chapter. So let us now understand triputi. Let us break down triputi. So going from the top down, first there is a knowing principle. Consciousness is knowing principle. It is beyond subject and object. How do I know that? You just experience that in your kumbhaka. in your Kumbhaka, in the Kumbhaka pranayama, you saw yourself as knowing principle. Okay, the one who knows the presence of breath and mind and the absence of breath and mind. Is that part clear? I am the knowing principle. I'm not the knower. The moment I tell I am the knower, I become intellect. Okay. Now, who's the knower? The knower is the intellect. The knower does not know the knowing principle. Okay. And the knower thinks I am the knower or the seer. Let me take an example. What is this? This is phone, right? Who is seeing the phone? Who is seeing the phone? Yashas, you're saying something?
All of us are seeing the phone, and as
You're seeing the phone. How are you seeing the phone? Without eyes, can you see the phone? So eyes are seeing the phone. Okay. So eyes, let's say it's seer number 1. Eyes are seeing the phone. But are really eyes seeing the phone?
Sorry.
Eyes are just instruments, optical instrument. The light is going from through the eye, and there's an inverted image created in the brain. Okay. Now, who is seeing that inverted image? Not the physical eye. Who is seeing the phone? Mind. Mind is seeing the phone. Is that clear? So, who is the real seer? Not the eye, but the mind. So, seer number 2. Seer number 1 is the eyes. Seer number 2 is the mind. Now, who is seeing the mind? Mind is also an instrument like the eyes. Like how eyes is an instrument. It's an instrument, that's all. Mind is what? Mind is nothing but thought. Thought is object. Is thought object or subject? Thought is object. Who is seeing the object called thought? In this case, there's a thought called phone. Okay. Mind. Who is seeing that mind? Is seen by the intellect, which illumines the mind. Intellect is the decision-making type. He's the one that says, like in the computer, there's an input mechanism. Okay, the input comes, then there's an image matching that happens. Okay, the computer vision says, okay, this something looks like this image, it's a phone. Then ultimately, the program tells, okay, this matching has happened and this is the phone. The one that makes the decision this is the phone is the intellect. Okay, clear? Intellect is seer number 3. Is everybody following? Is it becoming too much? Should I tell a story? Okay, so eyes do not see, the mind sees. Mind does not see, the intellect sees. Who sees the intellect? The computer tells this is a phone. Ultimately, it does some image processing and tells the phone. No matter how advanced computer, quantum computer, whatever computer, ultimately it gives a result. This is a phone. But there is a sentient conscious being who has to tell that, yes, this is a phone. Who is that?
Atma.
That's the Atma, knowing principle. Seer number 4. So who is the real seer?
Atma.
Atma is the real seer. Whoever is seeing, you say I see. When you say I see, you're referring to the body. But who's the actual seer? Who saw?
Atma saw that.
So you went into dream. In the dream, you went to Paris. You had a nice croissant with some chocolate topping on it. Okay. Then you say, somebody said something. Then you say, I ate the croissant. I saw the croissant. Who's the one who saw? Because when you wake up from the dream, the eye of the dream, the physical eye of the dream is gone. The mental mind, the mind of the dream is gone. Okay, the intellect of the dream is gone. The body of the dream is gone. But the seer who saw really is not gone. That's why you say, I saw the dream. Who is that seer? Seer number 4, Atma. That seer number 4 is Atma. He is the only seer. He is the one who sees through you. He is the one who sees through me. There's only one seer. That's called Paramatma. He sees through all eyes. There's only one seer who sees through all eyes. These multiple seers are because of the notion, false notion that is created by the intellect, telling that I am the seer. The intellect cannot see. The one who sees is the Atma. It's like eyes telling I am the seer. Eyes cannot see. It's the mind that sees. Mind says I am the seer. Mind is not the seer. Intellect is the seer. Intellect sees I am the seer. Okay, that intellect telling I am the seer is called Jiva Bhava. Okay, so you say I am Jiva, I am individual. It is because you are identifying with the intellect, the knower. The moment you identify with, the moment the intellect gets the clarity, I am not the knower, I am the knowing principle, it's called liberation or Jivan Mukti. Is it complex?
Yeah.
Yes, Guruji, it's really difficult to digest, because if I consider blind person seeing the same mobile, but there is an Atma there, and for like, I'm under assumption that like Atma cannot differentiate the objects. Okay, wherever you see, it doesn't matter. It could be materials, it could be a person, it could be anything. So may not be true, but like with this complex example that you have given, it becomes very difficult how soul is playing a part, not the intellect, and identifying mobile as a mobile,
Yeah.
not something else.
Okay, so I'll go to next level, next stage. Okay, so knower is clear, knowing principle is clear, knowing principle is Atma. The knowing only belongs to Atma. Atma is a knowing principle, but Atma never tells I know, because there is no, that I is a individual identity. It's not there in Atma. Atma is simply knowing, watching. Okay, now that Atma cannot watch directly. For example, you want to eat croissant, but you are in Reading. You can't eat croissant in Paris. So you have to create a dream world. Okay. Now, to experience a dream world, you need to create a dream body. Is that clear? To experience the dream world, the only way to experience the dream world is through a dream body. There should be a body created, and you should enter the body. Correct? So, two things are happening simultaneously. There are two realities. There is a higher reality and there's a lower reality. Higher reality is what? You sleeping on your bed in Reading. Okay? While you're sleeping on, that is the reality. You are sleeping on the bed in Reading. While you're sleeping in the bed in Reading, you are dreaming of a world. You're dreaming of Paris, where you have a different body. Now, who is in that body? Who is in that body? You are there. Simultaneously, you are sleeping on the bed. Simultaneously, you are sitting in the cafe eating croissant. You understand that? Simultaneously, there are two realities. There's a higher reality, which is beyond the projection, which is you sleeping on the bed. The Shruti who is sleeping on the bed has no idea of Paris. She's sleeping on the bed. She doesn't even know Paris. Okay, but there's another Shruti who is experiencing Paris. That's a lower reality. Same reality. Simultaneously, the two realities. Similarly, the absolute reality is Paramatma, knowing principle. That Paramatma, nothing has happened to the Paramatma. He doesn't even know there is a world exists. But a world appears like a dream in that Paramatma. The only way the Paramatma can experience the dream is to operate through the body. Like how the only way you can eat the croissant is you need to create another Shruti body, and you need to operate through that body. And when you operate through the body, you have forgotten the Shruti sleeping in Reading. You understand? Just the way you have forgotten, for the sake of experiencing the croissant, the Shruti sleeping in, who is that? Reading. Life is, you have forgotten that you are Atma because you are engrossed in the enjoyment of the world, experience the world. So first principle to understand is, I go step by step. Step number 1, there is a higher order reality and there's a lower order reality simultaneously. Is that part clear? That you understand with your dream experience. I am sleeping on the bed. At the same time, I am in Paris, experiencing Paris. Simultaneously. Simultaneously, I am sleeping on the bed, completely unaware of the Paris. Simultaneously, I am eating croissant, fully aware of Paris. You understand? You understand this? So simultaneously, and which of this is true? The higher order reality is true because Paris is only a projection. You understand? So Atma is just a knowing principle. It's just a witness, Sakshi. Okay, in Atma, there's a dream that appears. Why it appears, we don't know. Because Atma has the power to dream. Why a dream appears, there's no answer. A dream appears. The dream is called world. And that world, the beauty is, what is your dream world made up of? The Paris, the sky in the Paris, what is it made up of? The Eiffel Tower in the Paris, what is it made up of? What is it made up of? It is made up of the consciousness of the sleeper. The sleeper has become the sky. The sleeper has become the Eiffel Tower. The sleeper has become the individual who is experiencing the world, and the sleeper has become the croissant, and the sleeper has become everything. And that's what was what is that? Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, right? Paramatma has a dream, and he becomes the dream. Everything in the dream is him only. The higher order reality only appears as a lower order reality. Okay? Now, that is fine. The lower order reality has appeared. The problem is, there's somebody who is experiencing the lower order reality without knowing the higher order reality. Okay, who is that now? There's a body created to experience the dream. Now for Paramatma, in Paramatma there's no duality, there's no other. The only way the Paramatma can experience the dream is he animates the body. Okay? He enters the body as consciousness in the body. Okay, and illuminates the intellect, the mind, and the body. The moment the Paramatma does that, the body becomes animated. When the body becomes animated, the body now doesn't know who is the animator. It doesn't know the knowing principle. Immediately there's a sense called I exist. Okay, that I exist is that feeling of I is actually coming from Paramatma, who is the ever present. But because this Jiva doesn't know, the Jiva starts thinking I is body, mind, intellect, and starts experiencing this Paris. And it eats the croissant, it tells, I am eating. Okay? The one who is eating is the Karta, which is the body. The enjoyer is the mind, who is the Bhokta. The one who is seeing the Paris is the Gnata, the knower, intellect. So at one point you become Gnata, one point you become Bhokta, one point you become Karta. The body does something. The body drinks water. Who drank the water? Who is the Karta? Who is the Karta? Body is the Karta. Okay? But what do you say? What do I say? I say I drank the water. Okay? That I am referring to is the intellect, who is the Gnata, who is the knower who drank the water. The Gnata is telling I am the doer. But the Gnata is never the doer. The intellect is never the doer. Who is the doer? Body is the doer. So life is constantly confusion between the doer, the enjoyer, and the thinker or the knower. At one point I become intellect, one point I become mind, one point I become body. When I'm neither of that, none of that, I am the Atma who is the knower of all of this. Okay, is this part clear? With the dream, higher order reality, lower order reality. Okay, in the lower order reality, while I'm in the dream, while I'm in the world, I identify with the body and I become the doer. Who's the doer? Body is the doer. Okay. I identify with the mind, which is filled with, mind is nothing but emotions, pain, pleasure. The pain, pleasure belongs to the mind. But I identify it. I tell I am feeling it. Okay. Then there's thinking happening, thought process, knowing. And I say, I am knowing. Now, the spiritual teaching is not for the body. It's not for the mind. It's not for the karta, not for the bhokta. It is for the gnata, the knower, intellect, who is becoming all of this. Okay, the body, I told regret. Somebody, you punch somebody, it happened because of, in the moment, the body did something. The one who did doesn't exist now. The karta is gone. Only memory of the karta is there. But you tell now, oh, 20 years ago, I hit that person. Now, who hit that person? That I who hit that person doesn't exist at all. Do you see that? The one who hit the person, neither that person exists now, neither the I who hit the person exists now. Only a memory exists. Memory is a dead record. Okay? But holding that memory, the intellect, which still doesn't know its true self as Atma, again confuses with the picture and tells, I am the picture. Like, this is like you go to the movie theater, you're watching the movie, and you start crying. Okay? The father scolds the daughter, and you start crying. It is not your father. And neither the scolding was for you. Why are tears coming in your eyes? Because you have identified with the daughter character. Right? In the same way, the intellect identifies with the thinker, doer, and starts suffering. The teaching is, you are not the doer. You are not the karta. You are not the bhokta. You are not the gnata. You are not the knower. You are knowing principle, Atma. And there is no triputi. Triputi is seer, seen, and process of seeing, right? There's no such thing as seer or seen. There's no such thing as object and subject. The object is consciousness. For example, you see the Eiffel Tower in the dream. Okay? What is the Eiffel Tower? The Eiffel Tower is your own self. The object is the sleeper's consciousness. The subject, the seer who is seeing it, is again the consciousness. And the seeing is nothing but knowing. Okay? That knowing alone is the perpetual reality. At all points of time, there's only knowing remains. That is what that's why I made you do the Kumbhaka Pranayama. You know breath and you know absence of breath. You know thought and you know absence of thought. The knowing is your state. And that knowing belongs to the Kshetrajna, who is Paramatma. Is going beyond ahead. Rocket science.
Guruji, Guruji, in that case, time traveling is also another state of dreaming.
So the time travel, everything is a dream. The question is, what is real and what is unreal? The whole vichara here, discrimination here, I want to discriminate between what is real and what is unreal. I'm trying to find the reality. Okay. What I'm telling now is, I'm bringing a distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Time is part of what? Kshetra or Kshetrajna?
Kshetrajna.
Time should be Kshetra, right?
Time is Kshetra. Time is an object. That is very evident to you. In the waking state, you're in Reading, you're in 2024. In the dream state, you're in 2030. It's a different object that you're seeing. You understand? So time is a Kshetra, it's a field. So discriminated, it's an object. It is not me. I am beyond time. Atma is beyond time. Atma is beyond the waking. First of all, time itself is a conditioning of the one state. In waking state, there's one time. In dream state, there's another time. In deep sleep state, there's no time. So which time travel are you talking about? Time travel in the waking state, dream state, or deep sleep state? You understand? What I'm trying to say is I'm not pointing to the Kshetra. I'm trying to point to the Kshetrajna. Right now, you're pointing to the Kshetra and telling it's Kshetrajna. That is the mistake you're doing. Right now, you're pointing to the body-mind identity, Shruti, and telling Shruti is Kshetrajna. That is the mistake you're making. That is the third person view. The moment you make Shruti as an object, as Kshetra, you become free. The moment Shruti becomes Kshetra, Shruti is liberated. At least Pramod is liberated. I don't know about Shruti. Pramod is free. Ah, my wife has become peaceful. You understand, Shruti? You are experiencing life as a first-person game, which is an illusion. Life is third-person game from the point of view of Atma. You are Atma, beyond Triputi, beyond knower, doer, thinker, beyond Kshetra. Everything is a Kshetra. Make your body, mind, intellect into a Kshetra. What happens to your life? What happens when you objectify your body, mind, intellect? Don't you become free from it? Right now, it's a very subjective experience. Oh, all my feelings, oh, all my memories, oh, all my relatives, all my thoughts, my doubts. The moment that, my pain, my suffering. What does Guruji know about my suffering? I'm suffering so much in life, right? Everything you've subjectified so much. The moment you make it third person, the moment you recognize it's only a Kshetra. It is not Kshetrajna. You objectify it. The moment you objectify it, you realize I am Atma, I am unaffected. Nothing is happening to me. I am not dying. What is dying? Body is dying. I am not dying. The pain and pleasure belong to the who? Bhokta. I am not the Bhokta, I am mind. The confusion belongs to whom? Intellect. I am not the intellect. The action belongs to whom? Prakriti, body. I am not the body. So you become free. You become free from doership. You become free from ownership. You just remain as Sakshi, Atma. Now, when you realize Kshetrajna, don't think that will bring some change drastically in the body mind. The body mind will continue. Whatever is designed for will happen. The only thing that will stop is the one who is claiming, the ego which is claiming, that ego disappears. The ego is a claimer, that's all. For example, there's a painting. Okay, there's a painting. Bring the one sketchbook there. There's one sketchbook there. My painting only. Of all the paintings you found, my painting. Fine. There's a painting. Okay. The painting is the end result. Okay. Now, how did the end result come? There was an action of actual painting. When the action is happening, there's no doer. Please understand. When the painter is painting, there is no ego. The ego is there or not, the painting will happen. The hands will move. The painting goes on happening. It's because painting is an action of Prakriti. Okay. Then once the painting is done, then the ownership comes. I did the painting. You say, right? So let's say you did the painting. Then once the painting is done, you say, I did the painting. Who did the painting? The guy who says, I did the painting did not do the painting. Who is the one who says, I did the painting? It's the ego comes and tells, I did the painting. Okay? Because the ego can't tell, oh, Paramatma did the painting. Who did the painting? Shruti, who did the painting?
It's the body.
Body did the painting. But the ego comes and says, I did the painting. There's a feeling of I, individual, did the painting. But that individual didn't do the painting. The painting happened. It's a universal action. The individual didn't make the heart beat. For the painting to happen, the heart has to beat. The brain has to function. Okay? The eyes have to work. None of that individual did. What did the individual do? The
Claim.
only claimed that he did. And that claimer is called you, ego. You're only a claimer. You didn't do anything in life. The coding, like when somebody's coding, right? The coding is happening. Once it's done, the ego comes and tells, I did it. Okay, all actions are that's why Krishna tells in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatam karta hamiti manyate. All actions are done by Prakriti. Okay, but the ego comes and claims, I did it. You know what the ego does? The ego, when I say ego, it's the intellect, confused intellect. Okay, the confused intellect borrows I, the feeling of I, from Paramatma. The I belongs to Paramatma. So how do I understand this? You say I. You say I did this. I am doing. I am walking. I am listening. You say I. Yashas, right? Yashas. You say I. Prasad, you say I.
Yes.
Shruti, you say I.
At least in the annual review, I have to say.
Performance review, you say I. Okay. Pramod says I. Anu, you say I. Everybody says I. So somehow, everybody is referring to I. And everybody is referring to that one I, Paramatma. But confusing it with the individual I. So there's a real I, which we all are pointing towards. But when we're talking about it, we talk about individual I. Okay? So intellect borrows I from Paramatma, and it borrows body mind, which belongs to Prakriti. So the next phase of Kshetrajna, Vibhaga Yoga, Krishna talks about Purusha and Prakriti, consciousness and matter. Consciousness is I, supreme I. Okay? Intellect borrows I from that, the feeling of I thought. Then it borrows the body mind from Prakriti. Body mind belongs to Prakriti. Yes or no? Who is running the body? Body is Prakriti. Energy is running it. Okay, it's a super advanced machine. Mind is nothing but machine, thinking machine. Belongs to Prakriti. So it borrows I from Paramatma, body, mind from Prakriti, mixes both of them and tells, I did it. You understand? So who did the painting? The artist says, I did the painting. But the painting happened because of the presence of Paramatma as light and the movement of the body, mind, intellect, which is a very complex machine. And nobody knows to operate that machine. The only one who knows to operate that machine is Prakriti. Okay, no human being can fathom to put a pigment of paint, to put this black color on this thing. My hand has to do this. No human mind can understand how to make this happen. It's a very complex function. In the trillions of neural connections in the brain, one neural pathway has to get activated, and it has to send a signal to the heart to pump the blood to lift the hand, and none of that individual is doing. But after the action, the ego comes up, the intellect comes up and tells, I did the painting. Now you go and say that for your appraisal to get bonus and raise and all that. You say that, no problem. But don't ever think that as reality. The teaching is not for you to go and explain to the world that Paramatma is doing everything. Don't think. It is not for others. The teaching is to correct your misconception in the intellect, and you realize, I am not the doer. I am not the thinker. I am not the knower. I am Kshetrajna. I am just the pure witness. And who is saying this is the intellect. The teaching is ultimately for the intellect. Paramatma doesn't need any teaching. Atma doesn't need any teaching. The problem is in the intellect. The intellect has become Shilpa. It has become Shruti. It has become Yashas. The problem is in the intellect. That is why Jnana addresses the root of the problem, which is intellect. The intellect is given discrimination. Okay. What I am, what I'm not. I am not Kshetra. I am Kshetrajna. I am not the doer. I am the witness of the action. I am not the thinker. Are you the thinker? Is doing understood? Yash, Shilpa, Seema, have you done anything? Did you go and eat the croissant? You're raising your hand, Shilpa?
Yeah, Guruji, I have a question. So you said the painting, right? But it is it okay, that's also can be an illusion, but some people paint well and some people don't paint well. So is it that if you completely surrender your ego, you're able to do a better job?
Okay.
But again, I am saying you are able to do a better job. Again, that is again subjective, or there is no better, good or bad. I don't know. I'm feeling a bit confused.
Okay. Do you know the most one of the most expensive? I'll show you one of the most expensive painting in the world. You asked a nice question because I am also a painter. Okay. Most expensive. By this French artist. Okay, I'll show you a Jackson Pollock. Have you seen a Jackson Pollock before? Shilpa? Anybody?
No.
Okay, I'll show you a Jackson Pollock. This is one of the these paintings are worth billions. Okay, where is that? This is a Jackson Pollock here. You see that? Everybody sees the painting Jackson Pollock here. This one. Is it a good painting or a bad painting?
Looks like a doodling.
Did I see a phrase there? Was it called lunatic?
Yeah, that's the name of the painting.
Okay.
So it's a Jackson Pollock. He's a very famous artist. Okay. And he while he was alive, one of the rare artists, when he was alive, he had a huge success. And that painting is worth a couple of over $100 million. Is it a good painting? So the good and the bad. So if I understand I am not the doer, what will happen to my painting is when I become free from my concepts. See, ultimately mind is filled with many level of concepts. And all those concepts are rooted in the concept of I. When I become free from concepts, I become free from comparison. I become capable of allowing that divinity to operate 100% through the body mind, depending on the capability of the body mind. So body mind is like a machine. Some body mind is like a bike. Some body mind is like a car. Some body mind is like a aeroplane. Okay. Now, it's the capability of the body mind. Some body mind is capable of becoming a world leader. Some body mind is becoming capable of being a painter. Some body mind is capable of being a medical professional. The body mind's capabilities are different. Okay, because of predisposition, because of its upbringing, and so many other factors. The body minds are of different types. Instruments are different types. It's an instrument. Now, the question is, earlier, the ego is operating the instrument, thinking I am operating the instrument. The ego is full of biases. Okay, full of programs. And full of burden of doership. Now, when that ego is operating the body mind, what happens to the body mind or the actions of the body mind? The actions of the body mind is very selfish in nature, very limited. But the same body mind becomes liberated from the ego, now gets directed by the divine. That is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, there's a chariot on the battlefield. Okay, the chariot represents the body mind. Battlefield represents the world. That the one who is in the chariot is Arjuna, is depressed. he represents the ego, trying to control. That same ego becomes intellect, becomes liberated, free, and gets the Atmagnana. Now that same chariot goes on to win the battle. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanudara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruvani Tirmatirmama. What happens when the ego, when the intellect becomes purified because of Atmagnana, is two things will happen. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, there will be Yogeshwara Krishna as Gnana. Partho Dhanurdaraha. Now the energies of the body get liberated from the ego. They are now in direct control of the Paramatma. Okay, there's no interfering entity. And whatever that person was doing, if that person was a warrior, he'll become an enlightened warrior. If that person was a doctor, he'll become an enlightened doctor. If that person was a painter, he'll become an enlightened painter. Okay? If that person was a teacher, he'll become an enlightened teacher. That freedom, that peace of the mind, the abundance of the consciousness will start flowing through the body mind. That's what will happen. So to give a real life example, there was Bhagwan Osho. Bhagwan Osho was always used to go to a beach. In the beach, there was one, he used to see this one person. There was an artist. He always used to make in the sand sculptures of actors and actresses. Okay, and the people used to give money. After many, many years, Osho visited that place again because Osho became very famous and he came back again. This time he saw this artist. He was only doing sculptures of Buddha and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda, sitting in meditative postures. Then he asked, "What are you doing?" And the person said, "Earlier, before Gnana, my mind was focused on Artha, wealth. So all my actions were chasing wealth. Now my mind has become peaceful. What is in my mind is coming through my work. Okay. Now some people give money, some people don't give money, but I don't care. I am just expressing my inner beauty and I am peaceful and happy." So your inner state of joy, happiness, peace will start flowing through your actions. Meaning your actions earlier, which were for me, happiness for me, right? Ultimately, all your actions are like this. Happiness for me will become like this. Will become about giving happiness. So the Gnani does work, but the motivation or the goal behind the work is not happiness. It is to just share his inner being. Now that doesn't mean, don't think that that person will become poor and useless in the world. Might become, that's what Arjuna is. Arjuna is now Yartha Partho Dhanudaraha. He goes on to become victorious. Why? Because he is liberated by the Gnana. Is it clear, Shilpa?
Yes, Guruji, thank you.
So please don't think this teaching is to make you non-doer. Becoming free from doership doesn't make you non-doer. Becoming free from doership liberates the one who is intervening in doing, which is the ego, making noise. Then the action becomes divine doing. The doing continues, the action continues, but the action will now get a flavor of enlightenment, flavor of peace, flavor of, and that is why the divine actions done by these beings have an impact for have an impact on thousands of people. Okay, a politician speaks and a Swami Vivekananda speaks. The speech of Swami Vivekananda can inspire for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Both of them are speaking, but there's a different, action is the same. Both are speaking, but one person's speech awakens the country. Okay, the other person's speech is just ego trying to get something out. So the intellect which becomes freed from the false notion becomes a purified intellect. And that purified intellect becomes a divine instrument in the hands of the Lord. So it is safe to say that Lord only operates through such a body-mind complex. That is why when a Mahatma speaks, we call them Mahatma or Swami. Somebody who has crossed over, or rather seen through the falsehood of the ego and become free from the ego, from the small I. When such a person speaks, it is Lord himself speaking. When Ramakrishna Paramahamsa speaks, it's Paramatma only speaking. Okay? That's why I told Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. When Guru speaks, it's Paramatma only speaking. Don't think there's some individual who's speaking inside. Is it clear? And this is a result of clarity, Jnana, discrimination between what I am, what I am not. Okay? I am the knowing principle, Atma, Kshetrajna. I am not the body, mind, intellect. I am not the doer. I am not the enjoyer. I am not the thinker, nor am I the claimer. Ultimately, you have to drop the claimer, the ego, the one who claims I am doing this. I am not the claimer. The claimer, okay, what is the claimer? What is the ego? Ego is I thought. Okay, I thought. Now, the I thought it appeared after I did this painting. Okay. It appeared after I did this painting. Now, the I thought appeared after I did this painting, and after I did this painting, is it the same I thought? Shruti, did you get the question?
Yeah.
The I thought that appears after you make dosa. The I thought that appears after you make tea. You said you make dosa, you feed the children, and you said I made dosa. Then you make tea and you drink tea. Then you say I made tea. The I thought that came and said I made tea, and the I thought that came and said I made dosa. It is the same I? Same I thought?
Yes. Yes,
No.
but the intensity differs depending on the quality of tea.
Thought
and
is different.
thought is
So the I is I thought. Please understand. So doing dosa is action. Who does the dosa?
body.
Body does the dosa. Is it clear? Anybody here who are dosa makers? Anybody saying I want to? Anybody still? Shilpa, you made the dosa? You made the dosa. Show me how you made the dosa. अरे इतना कुछ बोल दिया अभी बोल रहे हो कौन राम है कौन लक्ष्मण है कौन Who made the dosa?
While making, there's no sense of I actually.
The body makes the dosa. Please understand. You cannot make the dosa. Even if you want, the body doesn't cooperate. You can't make the dosa. Who made the dosa?
The body.
Body made the dosa. But you claimed after the body made the dosa, or I made the dosa. Okay. Then body made the coffee or tea. Put a little extra sugar also. Okay. Then you say, I made the coffee or I made the tea. My question now is, my first statement is, the doer is the body. First statement. Second statement is, ego is the claimer of the action. Ego didn't do the action. Ego claimed the action. Third statement is, ego is a I thought that came and claimed. How did the ego claim? It came as I thought. I thought appeared and said, I did the dosa. That's what's thought. I thought. You understand? Now, while all of this is happening, what is the real I doing? Real I is just knowing. Witnessing, knowing. Okay? I thought came. Where is Yash? Yash disappeared.
Is here.
I'm here.
Did you hear the thread?
Witness, yes. I was just here stretching.
What is the first statement?
So, dosa madadamle, it's the doer and the witnesser.
First statement is, doer is body. Second statement is, I thought is the claimer. It came after the action. Third statement is, while all of this is happening, I is claiming and the dosa is happening, the real I is Atma who is witnessing. Okay? I am the real I. The I claimer, ego, is I thought. Now, same I thought, another I thought came after I made the coffee. My question is, The I thought that came after the dosa and the I thought that came after the coffee, is it the same I thought?
They're different thoughts,
Okay. Anybody, any other answer?
but referring to the same intellect thing that I.
There are two different I thoughts, but referring to the same absolute I. But confusing as false I. They're telling, I made the coffee. When you say I made the coffee, you're referring to body. When you say I made the tea, you're referring to body. But I always refers to Atma. You don't think that. You think I means body. Okay? So the I thought comes and tells I made dosa. Another I thought comes, which is completely different from this I thought. It's a new I thought. Okay? It's a thought. It's an object. Comes and tells I made tea. Neither did you make the tea. Neither did you enjoy the tea. The only thing that I really did was knowing principle, which is witness. But instead of just remaining as witness, you become doer, you become enjoyer, you become thinker, and you become sufferer. Nothing is happening to you. That is the message of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga. Why Vibhaga? When I discriminate what I am and what I'm not, I stop superimposing things that I have not done. It's like this. Somebody comes to you, you're a very compassionate person. Please give me some donation. Somebody comes, some poor, some organization comes to you. And you say, take it. What is that? What is that? Buckingham Palace, take it. I give it to you. The Buckingham Palace doesn't belong to you. Right? In the same way, body doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Prakriti. Mind doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Prakriti. Intellect doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Prakriti. I doesn't belong to you. I belongs to Paramatma. Okay? Now what belongs to you? What you say is you. Shilpa, Shruti, Mithali, Naveen. What belongs to you?
Knowing.
Only the ignorance that something belongs to me. And that is the ego. Neither does suffering belong to you. Suffering belongs to mind. Please understand. Suffering belongs to mind, but you claim it. Oh, it's my suffering. Suffering doesn't belong to you. Suffering is part of mind. And that is waking mind. The dream mind doesn't have suffering. You understand? Suffering belongs to mind. Actions belong to body. Pain belongs to body. Pleasure belongs to body. Thought belongs to intellect. I belongs to Atma. In sab mein tum kahan ho? Where are you? You don't exist. You are a figment of the imagination of Paramatma. The reality is only Paramatma. When I say you, it's like if I ask the person who is eating the croissant, right, in the Paris, who are you? That person who is eating the croissant will refer to the dream character and tell, I am this. But please understand, the dream character is only a dream. It's only appearance. The reality of that dream character is the one who is sleeping, who is beyond the dream, who is the absolute reality, who has become everything in the dream, including the character. And that is called Paramatma, Kshetrajna. The Kshetrajna has become the Kshetra, no doubt. But stop identifying with the Kshetra as Kshetrajna. That is liberation. Please understand, Mukti means people think Mukti from samsara. No. Mukti from this misconception that I am the knower, doer, and thinker. Naveen, Radhika, is it making sense? Was it becoming more complex?
No, Guruji. Yes, Guruji, it is. It is making sense. Yeah.
Naveen, sir, is it clear?
Yep, very much, sir. Thank you.
How your Kshetra is clear? Sorry, how your Kshetrajna is clear?
Good.
So the purpose of this teaching
Yeah.
to make you a third person, to give you a third person perspective in life. Otherwise, you have a first person perspective in life. Whatever is told to the body, you think somebody is telling to me. Whatever is told to the character called Naveen, you think somebody is telling to me. Okay? You need to make Naveen, Yashas, Shilpa as objects and become so that Kumbhaka practice is that. In Samadhi can happen either through Kumbhaka, Pranayama, Gnana, or just sitting silently. In Samadhi, you realize, oh, whatever I thought as me is disappearing. The body is disappearing, the mind disappearing, all characters disappearing, memory disappearing, everything disappearing. But something does not disappear is the knowing principle. And that knowing principle, I am. Now, when you open your eyes, that knowledge remains. Please understand, it's called Sahaja Samadhi or Jivan Mukti. With eyes open, you're interacting with the world, but you're interacting with the world without misconception that I am the body, mind, intellect. That's all. Krishna is also on the battlefield, but Krishna has no misconception that I am doing something. Okay, no misconceptions. That's why Krishna is free from karma. He is free from karma simply because he knows I am not the doer. Any doubts? So the main aspects of the chapter was the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. The body is Kshetra, the body is not Kshetrajna. Earlier, the body is Kshetrajna and world is Kshetra. No. The body is also Kshetra. And the Kshetrajna is only Paramatma, who is beyond the body, a higher order reality. And that higher order reality, I am always that. No, even though I am operating through the body, even though you're operating through the body in the dream, eating croissant, nothing has happened to you in the one who is sleeping. It's only a dream, projection. Just because there's an experience of the lower order reality, that doesn't affect the higher order reality. Please understand. The lower order reality it's called mithya, meaning it only appears. It's not real. So I have never ever become, I can never become, even if I want, this character. Like the waking Shruti can never become the dreaming Shruti. She can only appear as a dreaming Shruti momentarily. Okay? Or have a misconception that I am dreaming Shruti. But she is always the one who is sleeping. In the same way, you are always Paramatma. That nothing has ever changed. No matter what thoughts appear in the body, mind, intellect, no matter what the body does, no matter what thoughts appear, no matter what confusion is there, Atma is always Atma. You are always that. But the intellect creates a individual, feeling of individuality, going through life, ups and downs, wants, desires, past, present, future, identifying with everything on the earth. You identify with body, mind, intellect, doer, thinker, knower, something that you see on the TV, you identify with that. Somebody tells about somebody else, you identify with that. Everything you start identifying with. You have a very bad habit of identifying with everything. It's called Enjilu. In Kannada, it's called Enjilu. You know what is Enjil? Enjil means eating from other people's leftover. The mind has a horrible habit of identifying with everything except what it really is. Instead of identifying yourself as a Sakshi, you are identifying with all. Arjuna is identifying, oh, my relatives, my teacher, he taught me how to do archery, now I have to kill him, right? He's identifying with all memories. That identification is interfering in the right action that he needs to take. Please understand. Like there's a surgeon. The surgeon has never had a failure, but now on his table, now on the bed, his daughter is there. That identification with the daughter starts interfering with his capability to take the right action. So the identification with the falsehood interferes with the capability that you have of experiencing a beautiful life of sharing joy, not begging for joy. Otherwise, the whole life is begging for happiness because you are identifying with the false. When you identify with Atma, the whole life will become about sharing yourself, which is you're of the nature of happiness. Okay, your nature starts expressing through the body, mind, intellect. So that is the first part of the Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga. Second part is a distinction between Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha and Prakriti, I told you, the Prakriti is the Shakti that takes care of all the totality. The Purusha is the silent witness. The Purusha and Prakriti, it's because of Purusha and Prakriti that, like the fan rotates. The fan cannot rotate without electricity. Okay? Neither can the fan rotate without the wings. A combination of Prakriti and Purusha creates the experience. Okay? So that is the second aspect of the teaching. And the third aspect Krishna also talks about in this chapter is, he describes 22 characteristics of a Gnani, of somebody who has realized he's Kshetrajna. What are the qualities of such a Gnani? That is homework for you guys. You read that on your own. And Krishna describes somebody who realizes he's Kshetrajna. What are his characteristics? So this chapter comprises of mainly this Viveka, Atma, Anatma Viveka, Kshetra, Kshetrajna Vibhaga, and the teaching, the Tripudi of seer, seen, and seen is false. There is no Tripudi, there is no duality. The duality is only a illusion. The reality is one. The reality is rather not one, the reality is non-dual. And the non-dual Paramatma. Paramatma is the dream. Paramatma is the dream character. Paramatma is the experience of the dream. Okay? Now I have a choice. Either I can identify with the real I, or I can identify with pseudo I. That's all is the choice in life. Either I can identify and be Sakshi, or I can identify with the body, and whatever the body does, tell I did it. Whatever the mind does, tell I did it. Whatever the intellect does, tell I did. And continue to suffer. The choice is left to you. So like in the Matrix, the Morpheus gives the blue pill or the red pill. You can choose one of the pills. Either your real self, or you can continue to identify. But deep down in all of us, we know we are not limited. We know, that's why we do not accept suffering or unhappiness, because somewhere we know my nature is happiness. Somewhere we know we are not body, we are unlimited, we are infinite. Somewhere we know we are deathless. That is why you see other people dying. You never feel that I am going to die. That feeling comes from because you know your Atma deep down. Okay? You are, please understand, whenever you are experiencing the world, simply shift the awareness to see a number 4. When somebody is abusing you, you're listening, right? Listener number 1 is ear. Listener number 2 is mind. Listener number 3 is intellect. Who is listener number 4? Atma. Atma is a non-reactive listener. He simply listens. Okay? The body and mind and intellect will react because it's rejecting the experience. The Atma is a pure witness. Okay? Then the seeing becomes pure, the listening becomes pure, the doing also becomes pure. Please understand, when you're doing, right, if you have a feeling, oh, I am doing something, gently become aware of the doer number 4, Paramatma. Then the mind becomes quiet and a beautiful action will happen. When I say beautiful action, again, you'll imagine something grand. There'll be in the creation of the Lord, everything is perfect. The imperfection is in the human mind. Okay? The imperfection is always in comparison with something else. Like to tell this is a good painting or a bad painting, I am comparing it with some notion of good and bad painting that I have. But please understand, in Lord's creation, no comparison is possible. There's a forest which has thousands of trees. Thousands of trees have thousands of leaves. No two leaves are similar. Now, how can you compare? In the mind of God, comparison is impossible. That's why everything is perfect. Okay? And that is why a Gnani blooms. Because he doesn't become a hindrance to himself. The Agnani starts comparing everything with everybody else. Okay? Whatever he does, he'll think, oh, what is this? Other person has more money. He achieves something, a house. Oh, other person has better house. The Agnani ruins everything that he has. Okay? Agnani blooms like a lotus. Simply because the mind has become free from comparison. A pure creativity got unleashed. Okay, with that, I will conclude the Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga. If there are any questions, I know we took up, we went deep into the analysis, but that is the whole point of Vedanta. If you don't do this, it's superficial then. Okay, you're leaving something to mysticism. There's no mysticism in Vedanta. It's crystal clear clarity to the intellect that I am not the body, mind, intellect. I am consciousness. Okay, until that becomes clear, go on addressing that issue. That's the only issue. This is where you need to work on. Okay. Ultimately, you have to come back to the point: who am I? I am not the body, mind, intellect. I am consciousness. Nothing else is problem in life. Please understand. There's no other problem in life. The problem in life is duality. For example, there's a child, there's a baby. There's a war in a war-prone zone. People are getting bombed, killed. The baby is in bliss only. Because the baby is non-duality. Same thing happens to a Gnani. The same thing is happening in Krishna. Practically, Krishna is in war. Okay, but he's like a child, in the bliss of a child. He can be killed, please understand. But bliss of a child. But the only difference between a child and a Gnani is that child is innocent. Okay? And non-duality. It has no labeling yet. But a Gnani, through Jnana, has annihilated the ignorance and has become innocent. He's innocent out of wisdom, but the child is innocent out of ignorance. That's the only difference. Otherwise, there's no difference between the child and the Gnani. Shruti, whatever I said is making sense. Is it clear now?
Yes, Guruji.
Tripudi is clear, everybody? Naveen, Manu, Seema, Shilpa, Manu, Yash. Tripudi is clear?
Guruji, one question.
Yes, Guruji.
That?
You mentioned at one point that Krishna, because he knows that he's able to differentiate, karma doesn't affect him. So what happens once this distinction is understood by mere mortals? How's the karma affected then?
No, first thing is to understand the mere mortal, right? There are no mere mortals. It's all the same divinity only, appearing as mortal. The mortal, what you say mortal is human being, right? The human being has two parts, human and being. The human part is body. The body is of different types. But the being is only one. That same Krishna only is illuminating, operating through all bodies. Okay? Now, when somebody realizes I am the consciousness, I am not the body, that moment they become free from karma. They become free from karma and karma phala. So, both are kshetra, both are objects. Okay, the notion there is the story given is, the story told in the Mahabharata is, this person is dead. Who is that? There's a stillborn child to one of the Pandavas, forgot the name. Stillborn child, they go and ask Vedavyasa Maharshi to do something about the stillborn child. Vyasa Maharshi tells, if a real sannyasi touches the child will become alive. Okay? Now, Vyasa Maharshi has thousands of sannyasis, disciples. Not one of them will come forward. Krishna is Krishna comes there and he asks, what's the matter? They tell like this child is stillborn, but if a real sannyasi touches, then the child will become alive. Krishna touches the child become alive. Now Krishna has, we don't know how many wives. And Vedavyasa told sannyasi. Now, the moment you say sannyasa, the sannyasa is associated with some external characteristics. Sannyasa is sanyak nyasa. You are deeply deposited or established in self as non-doer. A non-doer touches. It's a non-doing. It's a no action practically. And the no action awakens the child. So the meaning, the story is given to tell that what you think giving up doership, one will bring a confusion of giving up doing. It's not about giving up doing. The doing will continue with a deep clarity that I am not the doer. The doing is just a happening. I am just the instrument of the divine. The divine is doing through me. So whoever realizes the self loses this doership, not the doing. Okay? So in that sense, Krishna is a non-doer. He's a sannyasi. Ramakrishna is a non-doer. Gnani is a non-doer. But he might do everything. Krishna does a lot of, he does singing, dancing, blessing, killing, everything he does, but he's a non-doer. Do you understand? So doing doesn't stop. The claiming of the doing stops because of Gnana. Does that answer the question, Anu? So anybody who realizes consciousness, so you can think of Krishna, forget about Krishna as Avatara for a minute. Think of him as an individual, or rather a human being who is in Krishna consciousness, who is in consciousness, who is established as consciousness. Okay? The same thing happens when you realize I am consciousness. The moment you realize I am consciousness, you are no longer the doer. You become a witness of the doing. So actions will continue through your body, mind, intellect. But now the actions are done by Paramatma only. And nobody's there to say that. Nobody's there to say Paramatma is doing it. It's just a pure happening. Doing happens without a doer, which the mind cannot digest. For the mind, if there is some action, some doer should be there. The reality is doing happens without a doer. Thinking happens without a thinker. Okay? Eating happens without a eater. Everything happens. It's just a happening. As long as the body-mind remains, there's a pure happening. So then there is a karma phala. So another part of the question is, he becomes free from karma, gnanagni dagda karmani, all the karma gets burnt. The karma is 4 types: sanchita, prarabdha, kriyamana, agami. The sanchita karma is all the data house of all the karma from all the lifetimes that I've done in ignorance. Now that is wiped clean. It is formatted. The data is formatted because the data exists because of virus that I am the doer. Now I am not the doer. The entire data sanchita is wiped out. Okay. Now what is there? Prarabdha is there. Prarabdha is I've taken some part of that karma to take this life. Prarabdha will continue. Okay. But that prarabdha will stop affecting the gnani. For example, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had a prarabdha of cancer. It is prarabdha. The body has a prarabdha. It has to get cancer at this point of time. The body will get that. But the difference is the karma now doesn't affect the gnani. He doesn't suffer because of it. Whereas the agnani will also get some prarabdha, but he'll suffer because of it. You understand? The prarabdha will continue, but the intensity of the prarabdha will reduce. But that is from the point of view of other people. From a gnani's point of view, he's already, there is nobody to experience that in that sense. Then kriyamana, whatever he's doing now, he's teaching or he's doing something, that there's no karma because it's just expression. It is not for getting something. It is just a pure expression. There's no kriyamana. And there's no agami because there's no now record. Everything is wiped out. So Gnanagni Dagda Karmani. All karmas are burnt. From the Gnani's point of view, he's become free from. He's realized the body, mind, intellect is only illusion. Then what is karma? Karma is also illusion for him. It's like in the dream, you win some $1 million. Does it have any value? It's a dream. In the same way, something happens in Glani's life, for him it's a dream. It has no value. He's ever established in Sakshi. Any other doubts? Yash? Shilpa, Amir, Seema, Naveen, Manu, Radhika, Mithali.
No, Guruji, no doubt.
So Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga is clear. So who am I? Who are you? Seer number?
4.
Seer number 4. And when you say seer number 4, when she says seer number 4, when he says seer number 4, we're all left into the same seer. Please understand. There's only one seer. That one seer sees through all. What else? Where is Deepak? Oh, Deepak had to leave. Okay, now the doing, the practical implication of it, right? So in doing, there are 3 things. Doer, the action of painting, and the deed, karma. The principle is just focus on the doing. Whenever you're involved in action, focus 100% on the action. That's why Krishna tells, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't worry about the result, because the result have an intention of the result. See, ultimately you go to work for some salary, for some money. Ultimately, all action is done for some result. Have a sankalpa for the result, but don't be possessed by the result. And because ultimately, what is the result? Why you are possessed by the result? You do some action. Let's say you do some action. You go to work. You go to work. Okay, which is a significant part of your life. You live 80 years. 80 years may around 40 to 50 years. More than spending time with the family, you spend time at work. Okay, I don't know, it is different in the hybrid, what is that, remote work from home situation. But earlier, people who used to go to office, most part of their life they spend in the office. Okay, statistically. So you are working. Why are you working? You want some money which will fulfill your desires. Ultimately, there is an expectation because of the work. Karma phala. Karma phala is salary, promotion, and survival, life, your life. Now, you get possessed by the karma phala, meaning you only get possessed by it when you are expecting happiness out of it. Okay? Krishna's message is, he's not telling, don't worry about the karma phala. Be focused on the karma phala. Okay, that I am fighting the war, I have to win the war. Have that intention. But don't be possessed by it. Meaning, don't think I will get happiness because of the result. Instead, get the happiness in the action itself. That's called karma yoga. Do action 100%, be involved in the action. And that's called karma yoga. And do it as an offering to the divine. Obviously, as a byproduct, you'll get success and all that. But that is not for your happiness. You are getting your happiness already through the work. Okay. Otherwise, you're doing the work with the craving for happiness. Okay. And that gets you possessed about the result. Okay. You want a very specific result. Please understand, result is not in nobody's control, neither in God's control. Result is We don't know what is the result of. So many things have to come together for you to get a certain result. Okay. Now, if you try to control that, it's an impossible task. So you are putting an impossible condition for your happiness. Okay. That is why Krishna tells focus on karma yoga, where you're not focusing on the result. You have intention for the result, but you're not possessed by it, and you're focusing on the action. Then the result may come or may not come. You have already got your happiness. You have got your happiness, and you also become stronger to go closer to the result next time. Maybe you will lose this time, but next time around, again, you are getting happiness through the action. And simply because of the fact that you're deriving happiness out of the action itself, you're doing an action better than somebody else. You're constantly improving. So in the path of Karma Yoga, you are ever victorious. That's why Hanuman is shown as the embodiment of victory. He can never lose. Why? In Hanuman's concept, he is already victorious because he derives joy from the action. What I'm doing is for Rama. Rama is here. Rama is not at the end of the action. Rama is the action for him. So he is ever victorious. So a karma yogi is always victorious. And he's free from triputi. How? He's free from doership and the result. He is only in doing. Triputi is doer, deed, and the doing. Okay, painter, the end painting and the painting. The triputi the three becomes absorbed into one, into the doing. You understand? The subject and object get absorbed into the knowing, the doing, present moment. And doing is always in the present moment. Please understand. The present, you're always in the present when you're in the doing. Otherwise, you're always in the past or future. You cannot act in the past or future. Please understand. Action is only possible in the present. Okay? The other beauty of Karma Yoga is when you focus on the action, you're always in the present moment. And in present moment is bliss. The suffering is in the mind, which is past and future. You understand that? You look at his suffering and the pain in life, it's always thoughts about the past and thoughts about the future. Whenever you engage in present moment action, you are in bliss. Because in the present, you are with Bhagavan. Bhagavan is in the present. Bhagavan is the present. Okay? So, Karma Yoga, first step, which brings you to consciousness and beyond Triputi by bringing you to the action. Okay? Bhakti brings you to the awareness of the seer four. In the seeing of the duality, you see the one. Okay? Whatever you see, you will start recognizing the seer four. Now, please understand, in you, it is seer four. The same thing applies to the other also. Okay? The same thing applies to when your husband or wife shouts at you, you will start recognizing the seer four. You will start realizing, oh, Paramatma is telling me this. My wife is laughing. So Paramatma is telling me this. It changes your worldview. Then Jnana. So that is karma, bhakti. Jnana is direct path. No roundabout route. Directly go and inquire into who am I? I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. I am consciousness. Over. How? With the logical understanding of Vedanta. Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa. Okay, enough for today. Go home. We close for the day. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hold out your hands this way, palms out. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. My pranams to all. Next Sunday, we will not have a session. There'll be no session on next Sunday. We'll have the session the Sunday after that. Chapter number 14, which is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om, Guruji. Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
So Yash, clear? Yash, Yashas,
I'm still here. Yes, yeah.
is it clear?
Very much. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
So this session is more on the Vedantic approach, more non-dual approach, Advaitamrita Vashini. That's how the Gita was intended to be. So it's a path of direct path. Okay, directly going to the core of understanding that I am not the body, mind, intellect, and realizing I'm consciousness. No doing, no sadhana, no nothing that reinforces you as a doer, thinker, enjoyer. You need to just unclutch. It's unclutching process. It's one shot. Unclutch from the false notion by directly going to the realization. Okay. So how many days are you there in Reading?
It just happened. I think it's all blessings. It happened that I stayed back last night, and I was blessed to be part of this session today.
Otherwise, you're going back now?
Yeah, I'm driving back.
Nice. Where do you work in cybersecurity?
It's called Lloyd's Banking Group.
Right, so Lloyd Bank. Nice. Okay, so you're in touch with Mohan?
Yeah, yes, we are good buddies.
Oh, okay. You still you keep in touch?
But yes, indeed, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Journey started. Yeah, when with the tuitions at 10th standard.
Tuition 10th standard, 12th standard.
11th, we started the Shasharipuram college Serkondu Vibru, and we same tuitions, same college as well, PU college.
I was also in college.
Pre-University college ಅಲ್ಲಿ Shasharipuram.
Yelanga, right?
Yes, correct.
I was in the same college. When you were in 12th, I was in 11th.
11th.
Yeah.
Definitely we met then.
Yeah. But looks like a...
And then you had already moved to ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ
Agarbavi, yeah.
Agarbaviಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ. So
yeah, seems like a different lifetime ago. So Shruti, is it clear? Was it too complex, Shruti?
At some parts ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು ಗುರುಜಿ, but I think now it is clear.
Again clear ಆಯ್ತು.
As always, the statement, I'm not the body.
ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? You have to become a witness of Shruti, like the third person game. Gaming ಅಲ್ಲಿ you can change the mode. ಒಂದು ಬಟನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. You can either enter the body or you can exit the body. You have to start looking at your body mind also as an object. So that's what it is. Otherwise, you become so entangled in the thoughts, actions, which has nothing to do with you.
It's like don't take the doership in doing good or bad anatra.
What did you say? Yes.
I said don't take the doership in neither good or neither bad. Just keep doing the good karma.
Yeah, just actions will happen. Just be a witness. Whenever you have a doership, do karma yoga. Doership hogatanga, gnana bandhu doership hogatanga, do karma yoga. So when you identify with the body, you don't delude yourself. Don't tell I'm not the doer. Okay? Because there's an identification with the body. When you identify with the body, do karma yoga as an offering to the Bhagwan. So that's what Hanuman says. Hanuman says, when my eyes are open, I'm identified with the body, I am Ramadasa. Okay? Then when I close my eyes, I feel closer to Rama. And when I enter Samadhi, there is no Hanuman, there is Rama alone. Okay? So when you're identified with the body, don't when the teaching is not your realization, don't cheat yourself. Do karma yoga. Then there'll come a time when the teaching will become crystal clear and you can't hold on to the notion of I'm a doer. Okay, then it's a spontaneous life.
So, Guruji, you had this discussion. I mean, you highlighted this about the role, right? In the first session, Tat, when you are discussing about that.
Yeah.
So, I'm just a role. I'm not that. Like, I'm just an husband. I'm playing that role. I'm not husband. I'm son. I'm playing that role as son.
Yeah.
So, this conversation is continuation of that, basically.
Correct. Correct. There's only one topic in spirituality. Who am I? Everything is just different ways of telling it. So I play many roles. I'm not the role. It's like the actor who's playing the role, confusing that he is the role.
Yes.
Then it's a big problem. If the actor starts thinking he is the role, he is in big trouble.
Okay. Yeah. Clear on that. Thank you.
So the actor is playing the role of a beggar. Practically, the infinite is playing the role of a limited entity. Okay. Now, when the actor who is billionaire playing the role of a beggar starts thinking he's a beggar, it's a big problem. Same way, when the infinite who is playing the role of the finite, thinking it is finite is a problem. That is a problem of life. You are not finite. The only way out of it is you have to start paying attention to the CA number 4. When I say you, I mean intellect. The intellect has to change its drishti from Kshetra to Kshetrajna. Anita is still here? Anita, Naveen?
Yes, Guruji.
Does this help, Anita, in getting promotion?
I think what you said about finding happiness in the karma and leaving to rest, need to relate with that, not only focusing on what is the outcome. To an extent, it does.
Yeah. So see, Jnana makes you crystal clear of the outcome also. So Arjuna's outcome is very clear. I have to win the battle. It's a clear sankalpa. For that sankalpa, for that to manifest, for that to happen, whatever needs to be uprooted, which is including his own, he has to, of course, uproot Kauravas, right? He has to kill people, but he also has to kill something inside, which is ignorance. Same way, in the path to success, outer success, is a result. See, please understand, anybody who has outer success, right? Be it Jeff Bezos or whoever, Zuckerberg, Elon, they have crossed over some inner hurdles. More than outer challenges, they have crossed over inner belief systems, false beliefs that they have because of some mentor or something. Popularly, we know Steve Jobs had mentoring from the East, which helped him cross over various concepts of what is possible, what is not possible. Okay. So your outer success is also dependent on your inner beliefs, which restrict you. So when you do karma yoga, you become free from all those beliefs. Karma yoga and also Jnana. You get an insight on, oh, this is blocking me. Right? And then your goal keeping also. For example, you keep a goal. I need to get 20% hike or 30% hike. That approach itself might be wrong. For all you know, you need to be aiming that I need to become the CFO or CEO. But that thought doesn't even arise in your mind because of your programming. You understand? It is not a matter of capability. It is not a matter of skill. Skill you can pick up. The most unskilled people are CEOs. Everybody in the company can do better work than the CEO. But the CEO has a belief system that I can pull all these resources together and drive them in my direction. Now that's only a matter of belief and vision. As long as you are rooted in your own stories, your own memory, that thinking won't open up. Unless you get a mentor. Okay. So I'll leave you with that for today. See you in the next session. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Yeah, Guruji.